Alright, so the review I was promising you guys in my last video, this is a RXT 260. It's my uncle's. I really appreciate him letting me take it out and give you guys my opinion on it. This is the first S3 hull ski that I've actually ridden. It's got the same engine as my RXPX. It's not the X model, it's the regular RXT, but I mean there's not really huge differences in my opinion from the RXTX to the RXT. The biggest difference is the sponsons and the fake race handlebars they put on my RXPX and the RXTX. I personally do not like them. I think these are just as good and pretty much no different. This ski is a 2016. It's got the palm rest grips, it's got the updated lanyard, so it's much more user-friendly. It doesn't have the key reading issues like mine does. These skis technically came out in 2009 with the RXT IS. They were the suspension models, and then they transitioned it into a model that did not have suspension in 2010, I believe, with the RXTX 260. I'm already very pleasantly surprised with how small it feels, even though it's a pretty large ski. It's pretty nimble. It feels light on its feet. Still jumps pretty good for a three-seater. Not bad, not bad. I can already tell you that I've noticed it is much more predictable than mine is. Mine, if you hit a wave the wrong way, it'll totally send you, and you may or may not expect the way that it's going to take you. This is definitely much more predictable. You can, I would say, if you're gonna have kids riding whatever ski you own, this is definitely gonna give them a much more predictable, much more safe experience than the RXPX will. The RXPX, if you hit a wave wrong, you're gonna sail the wrong way, aka off the ski. So it's got the palm rest grips, which are always a plus. I'm a big fan. They just give you that little bit of extra stability that you might not normally have to kind of hold yourself up while sitting, hold yourself up while standing, you know, all the things that you want. Sitting ergonomics, super comfortable. They still have a little bit of a taper in the front of the seat, kind of like the RXPX, so you can kind of hug it with your legs. You can definitely feel that it's wider, kind of more towards the back of you, but I think that's a good thing. I mean, you want to be comfortable, and this is a very comfortable seating position. I would say the cushion is a bit softer. I don't know if that varies RXTX to RXT, but I think it's a plus. I like it. I mean, it's what I would want on this ski, you know, to kind of give you a little bit more of a cushy ride, keep you more comfortable, things like that. Wave performance is interesting. Obviously, the RXPX has a very performance-oriented hull that kind of pulls itself up and out of the water so it can kind of skip across waves. This definitely slams down a bit more, which is interesting. You can tell that the splash guard technology definitely developed a bit on this. It's better than my RXT, but it's not as good as the RXPX. It doesn't have all the little guards and fins and things to push the water away from you, but it's still good. I mean, I'm hitting waves at a decent pace and I'm not getting soaked. So on our RXT, the old GTX RXT, I don't actually know what that hull is called, but it's a very wet ride. If you're hitting waves, you're gonna get wet. This still pushes it away from you. It's just on the bigger stuff, mostly like jumping a wave or a wake. When you're deliberately trying to launch the ski, you will still get a little bit more wet than I would say you get on the RXPX. Yeah, so like that. I don't think I would have got wet on the RXPX on that wave, but you know, it's not the end of the world. I will say, I guess I have had the trim all the way up the whole time. Maybe that will make a difference. On mine, I just prefer it. I like to jump everything, so. It's nice to be on a 3-seater that has trim. For whatever reason, back in the day, they felt GTXs and RXTs didn't necessarily need it. They did put it on the X package models, and they had it on for a while, but you know, they were always back and forth on if it actually needed it or not. So it's good to see that it's a standard option. Typical sport mode, eco mode, it's got a touring mode, you know, all the usual stuff.
Aside from my soul, there goes a sight, there goes a sight. Now there goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight from my soul.
Definitely still rails really good for a 3-seater. Just a little over half trim right now, and it'll spin it right around, so that's very cool. Unfortunately, the hood seems to kind of throw the water right at your eyeballs, but that's why you're out with sunglasses, right? Woo! It does have cruise control, which is pretty cool. Technically, all you do with cruise control is you set whatever mile per hour you want to go, and then you can just hold it wide open and it'll only go that speed. So we'll set it to 15. Cruise is set. You can give it the full beans and it'll only go 15 miles an hour. So like I said, you just hold it, it'll pull up the cruise selection, pick a speed. Also cool, apparently it'll drive itself without you hitting the throttle. So this way you could literally just kind of chill if you're in a no wake zone. You're only gonna, apparently it'll go up to 7 miles an hour because that's what we're doing right now. It says it'll only go up to 5, but very cool. Literally riding it with no hands, and you could put the trim down, kind of calm the ride down a little bit, make a little bit less of a wake, and you're good to go. It definitely has a cool feel because it does stay hooked up really well, even though it can get kind of upset by big waves. In like the little chop, it just stays planted, so it kind of pulls like a freight train, which is awesome. Woo! Yeah, like that. It just, in this little chop, it is an absolute monster. That's kind of what I was saying. Even though there's differences between this and my personal ski, I think if you're on a smaller lake, this is like a 23-mile long lake, so there's still pretty decent sized waves. But if you're on a small lake, it's gonna own it. I mean, you're barely gonna feel anything. This is adjustable, so you can put the handlebars up higher if you want. You just pull it back, and then you can put them down. You can put them up. So just make sure it's clicked into place. This is all the way up, so it adjusts the gauge along with the handlebars, so you can still see the gauge perfectly, which is something that I don't think is adjustable on the mountain snowmobiles, but they have it angled down so you can see it while you're standing, because they know that you're going to do more standing than sitting. And then obviously when they're up this high, I mean, it's perfect. You You could probably be 6'5" and still feel comfortable standing with the handlebars up here. It does kind of put you over the center console a little bit more, but I mean, it's nothing horrible. And then you with the palm rest grips, you could probably ride like this all day, you know what I mean? Just get you over the waves, keep you standing so you're not bored, but still super comfortable. Something that the RXPX needs and does not have for sure. The cool thing about the seat is that it just pops right up. I'll show you guys that now. So that's a very cool feature of it, the fact that the seat comes up. You don't have to lug around a heavy seat. You can just open it up and then you're good to go. Obviously much more room in this ski than in mine. Just a bigger ski. So you fit in the same engine, you have lots of room. It's always a good thing. You don't have to store it anywhere, you don't have to move it around, it'll just hold itself up. You can work on the ski. Takes the headache out of the two-part seats and then the middle bracket that you have to take off every time you're trying to change the spark plugs or anything. You know, it's definitely a huge time saver and much less of a headache that way. So a very smart thing Seadoo did with them. I would be interested to see if they start to carry over to more models. I don't know if the new 3-seaters have them. I'll look it up, but I think it's awesome. Reboarding step, which is cool too. It's got the normal sponsons, much more like our RXT, and doesn't have the adjustable ones like the X package would technically have. Yeah, so it still has a lot of playability. I mean, it's still a lot of fun, even though you're riding a 3-seater. And these are some of the biggest 3-seaters they've ever built. I think now the current, I forget what they call it, I think they call it the ST3 hull, is actually even bigger than this one. But you can see like the stability of the ski. We'll get to a nice, it's got the IBR. You guys have seen that in multiple skis, but the stability of it, I mean, I'm standing on one side, the ski is barely upset by it. I mean, you could literally, this is like a boat. I mean, you could just move around however you want and you'll be perfectly fine. So if you're looking for something that's going to give you a lot of usability in a family, probably even more than like a GTI or GTR, GTS, any of those skis, because those have a very playful hull, but they're still not, they're not this stable. I mean, standing on one side, the ski is barely upset by it. I mean, this does come in a variety of engine sizes and technically models. This is the same hull as the GTX, so you could get it in a 155, obviously the 260. It came in a 215 for a while. I think it's cool to have the ability to have the 260 and have the extra power. It'll give you a little bit more fun, a little bit more playability in the ski. So, you know, if it's something that you think you're going to want to keep for a while and that you'll grow into, I would say go for the 260, because like we're in sport mode right now, but hold it, you take it out of sport mode, just like that, it's deactivated, and you gun it, and it's a nice gradual takeoff, you know. It does get going, obviously. We're already at the 40, but if you have kids on it, you could either have them run it in eco mode, or if you trust them even less than that, we'll get the learning key out. So we have the learning key in. It'll most likely tell us right on the dash that it's learning key. Yep, there it is. And now when you gun it, you do still have a little pop out of the hole. It's still going to be fun for the kids, but you don't have that crazy surge as the supercharger gets spooling up. So this will keep them more under control. And make sure that they're nice and safe, you know. So you still have pretty much the performance of a GTI, but you know, when you get out there and you want to enjoy the ski for yourself, or when the kids get older, you'll still have that power. So I think, you know, if you're looking for probably one of the most user-friendly skis on the market, you have nothing to lose with this. It obviously won't go into sport mode, not an option with this, or eco mode. It's just the learning key. Just, you know, keep the kids under control, make sure they're having fun with it, but make sure they don't get out of control either. So yeah, that's my little spiel on the S3 RXT. I think it's a perfect ski if you want something that's all around usable, good for the family, good for fun. I think it's just a perfect combination of the RXT's performance and the usability of a 3-seater. So hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any more questions on it, just let me know down in the comments and I'll answer anything I can think of about the ski.